Well, hi there. My name's Pop, and I've got a story for you. It's about a family called the Nutts, who had a small farm in North Georgia near my grandparents. Now, Mr. and Ms. Nutt, they were frugal, hard-working folks, and one of the biggest disappointments in their life was that their children didn't seem to have the same values. And the oldest of their twin boys, Walter, was absolutely the worst in the lot. He was lazy beyond words. What he loved to do was sleep late, eat a lot, and go to bed early. He was what we'd call in Georgia just downright trifling. He just didn't want to do a lick of work. And on those rare occasions when he did try to do a task that his father had given him, he either didn't finish it or did such a lousy job that his father had to redo it. And finally, after putting up with this for longer than he wanted to, one day Mr. Nutt called Walter into the barn on a hot summer day, and he handed him a $1 bill. And he said, Walter, I want you to take this money and I want you to go into town and buy us something we can eat, something we can drink, something we can feed the pigs, and something we can plant. And if you can buy all of that for $1, you'll be welcome back here at home. But if you can't, you're going to have to leave and find somebody. Just don't even come back, as a matter of fact. And you're going to have to go find some other sucker to take care of you. Well, Walter begged and pled for him to be able to show that he was dependable in some more traditional way. But Mr. Nutt, he held firm. And so finally, Walter started trudging down the road, clutching that dollar bill. And the further he got from home, the more upset he got. He really thought, if I'd only worked harder, maybe this wouldn't have happened to me. And tears started to roll down his cheeks. And he struggled along for a while. And then over on the side of the road, he saw a young woman about his age. And he quickly wiped the tears from his face, but apparently not quickly enough, because she jumped up immediately and came running over to him and said, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? You look like you just lost your best friend. And Walter just broke down and told her what had happened and said, my dad has told me that I can't come home unless I can take this dollar and buy something my family can eat and something my family can drink and something we can feed the pigs and something we can plant. And the girl smiled. She said, well, silly, that's an easy problem to solve. He said, it is. And she said, of course. And she whispered in his ear what he should buy with that dollar. And then she handed him a little piece of paper with her name and her address on it, and she ran down the road. So Walter went on into town, and after looking around for a while, he managed to find what that young girl had told him to buy. And he bought it, and he took it home, and his daddy and his mama welcomed him with open arms. And they took what he had bought, and they ate, and they drank, and they fed the pigs, and they planted a crop. And Walter had learned from that lesson. He became very industrious. He worked hard. And he went to see that young girl and thank her for all the help she'd given him. And one thing led to another. And pretty soon, she was his wife. And they, of course, lived, as people do in stories like this, lived happily ever after. And now you know everything about Walter's adventure, except you don't know what he bought with that dollar, do you? So you may have already figured it out for yourself, but I want you to think, what could Walter have bought that would feed his family, give them something to drink, feed the pigs, and give them a crop to plant? Well, you know what it was, don't you? Of course, it was a watermelon, because they ate the inside of that watermelon, the meat. They drank the juice. They fed the rind to the hogs, and they planted those seeds so they could have more watermelon. And everybody lived happily ever after.